Blessings, beloveds. It's Lori Ann Spagna here with you today. I want to chat with you briefly. Today is October 11th. It is an 11 day, which is always a day of leadership and mastery. It's also, perhaps on this particular day, even more importantly, the day that Pluto is going direct. And I just think it's fascinating that Pluto would choose the day of 11, an 11 day, to go direct, because Pluto is really, in a sense, as a planet, it is all about mastery. It is all about becoming empowered. That's a major function and role that the planet Pluto plays in terms of contributing to humanity. It certainly can lead to power struggle dynamics, and we could include the word war. On the lower planes of consciousness, the 3D world where people are really engaging in, those lower dynamics, we'll call them. But on the higher planes, it's really about personal development and growth, to reclaim our truth, our authentic power, to reawaken, to reignite, to transform. Pluto is the planet of transformation. And the way we transform is really by reclaiming our power. It's no accident that the planet Pluto begins with the letter P in sacred namology, which I have taught for many years and played with myself for many years. It is about powerful power dynamics and reclaiming one's power. That's the letter P. And Pluto is serving in that capacity. And 11, the dynamic of 11 in sacred numerology, oftentimes also has to do with rising up and claiming not only power, but leadership, which is a different kind of power, because it's about empowering others, not taking power from others. That's the power of 11. It's about leadership that empowers others. And so this transformation of Pluto going direct today is designed to support those of us who are coming into greater degrees of power, whether it's power over our own personal lives or our professional lives, whether it's the potential to create great change or magnificent change in the world, or just in the community where we serve, or how we contribute. And so Pluto has always been one of my very favorite planets, even though it can be associated with great hardship. It is a formidable teacher in this sense. And so I would like to ask you to reflect on the last, easily 6 months where I don't remember the exact date that Pluto went into retrograde, but to reflect on this period of time. I think it was in May, early May, like the first week of May 1st, I think. So during this time where you have undergone transformation that perhaps is ready to come out, because in retrograde, Pluto, of course, would mean sort of like unseen. But as it comes direct, it's about being seen and recognized again. And of course, I want to chat with you about the expansion experience that's coming up, because that really, to me, is, for me, it's my Pluto in retrograde coming forward now into the light. The expansion experience is a 9-day masterclass designed to facilitate for more visionaries and leaders, global leaders, change agents, visionaries, soul-centered entrepreneurs, heart-centered solopreneurs, to facilitate the service and contribution we're meant to make in the world. Because in reality, this is the thing, if you're heart-centered and soul-centered, if you're a global leader, a change agent, a visionary like me, we know there's no greater reward than the reward of truly contributing to the positive upliftment of another. And that the greatest reward, and by the way, angels say this all the time, is the gratitude that other beings may express in the recognition of how you have served them. And to be able to have, as an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, a heart-centered, soul-centered leader in the world, the desire to have a front row seat to changing people's lives and to contributing to the change on Earth, the evolutionary shift that's taking place, and to be able to help improve the quality of life for people and for animals, to help to know that you're really making global change, and to know that you're dedicating your life to something that is truly worthy, that people and animals, their lives are being radically transformed for the better because you have somehow helped and served them. That is the greatest reward and contribution. That is the ultimate gift. And that is I've said it, this is like an original quote by me, right? That's the fastest road to joy. And I'm not talking about the kind of service and contribution that is, to your own harm or detriment, or that is people-pleasing service. Of course, I've had to work through those issues for sure. And I'm sure many of you have. And I'm also not talking about, where we harm ourselves or suffer. We're not meant to be martyrs. I've definitely had to work through that too. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about service because it is so incredibly joyful. And that when you start serving on that level, you start realizing that the greatest pain is to not be able to do what you know your calling is. To know that you have a calling that is so great, so magnificent, and so profound, and can truly help people. So, for example, I've known for most of my adult life that I know the cure to cancer. I know the cure to cancer. I know the cure to almost every disease on the planet. I know how to do it. I know the solutions that most people and animals need. I almost know them almost instantly, or certainly within a short conversation, and maybe sometimes a couple of hours to let the divine give me what I need for them so that I can give it to them. Now, to carry that and to know that you have something that magnificent or similar to offer, and then to not be able to offer it, that is the greatest pain. And the thing is, for many of you, especially if you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, especially, and if you're working alone a lot of times, maybe you don't have a big team, sometimes you might feel so overwhelmingly buried under the work and the to-do, and the motivating force is just the desire to make change. There is something greater than you at play. So even though you're overwhelmingly buried in to-do list or how you're going to get to the business of what you have to do or choose to do, get to do, really want to do, and the business of getting your life going and all the moving pieces, because there's so many moving pieces when you are running a business, a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, or just overall if you're a major, highly motivated, highly inspired person to contribute. There's so many pieces moving, and you maybe sometimes are just lost in the middle of it, and you feel like there's moments, every entrepreneur, every solopreneur goes through this stuff where maybe you feel you're lost without a life raft. And if you are heart-centered, soul-centered, spiritually aligned, you know that it's the faith, and it's the mission, and it's the calling that gets you through that. And so even if there are those moments where you just feel like hopeless and really challenged by the circumstances and the overwhelm of the mission, I mean a global mission, for example, where humanity is still playing games of war and still playing these ridiculous games of being willing to harm another for their own personal gain. Like, to me, that stuff is ridiculous. the willingness of how people are willing to fight or criticize or judge unnecessarily, and maybe not even yet take responsibility for their role so that they can make the change, right? These are things we go through, and we can feel so overwhelmed and so deep in it, and not sure sometimes how we're going to dig ourselves out of it so that we can bring forward what we're here to bring forward. You know, this is where we have common ground. And this is why I created the Expansion Experience, which is a 9-day masterclass gifted for our community, because this is really where, even beyond faith, let me describe faith or define faith. Faith is the trust in the unknown and the unseen, but not in the unreal. This is not about playing with, woo-woo concepts that are ungrounded and unreal. There's lots of that in the woo-woo community. And that's why that community is very discredited. And that's why when the woo-woo community wants everything to be all positive, all love, and all light, they're in their own state of denial. I do not enjoy that game. I've been in it. It's not my interest. But using faith to understand that we are in a game, an experience here of duality that includes shadow aspects and light aspects, and that we are putting our faith and trust into the light, the divine, which includes the intangible that has not yet presented itself, but that is coming from that divine that is working in and through us for our calling, so that we can fulfill our mission, our purpose, and our soul's highest agenda. And that calling, if you have it, it's too powerful to deny. So the faith is betting on yourself, is believing in yourself, is knowing that there is something greater than you as a personality identification, as a personality self, that is calling to you to utilize you in service and in contribution. And I think this is such a huge part of Pluto going direct today on the day of 11, because that, of course, is about empowerment, understanding that we must empower ourselves so that we can also empower others that we serve. And this is also the role of leadership. This is also, by the way, a dynamic associated with the upcoming eclipse season this month, which I talked about in last week's newsletter, and that video is now about that is on my YouTube channel. If you didn't check that out, please do. It hopefully will be very helpful. Got a lot of positive feedback about how that helps people. But the idea is we're utilizing faith because we understand that the service and the work we're doing here is very intangible, especially if you are, very heart-centered and soul-centered and spiritually aligned. And that from that perspective, especially if you're like me, I'm a person who's here to bring unknown concepts and energy, unseen, unknown, from the non-physical into the physical world. My expertise, my mastery, lies in things that are seen or perceived in this reality to be woo-woo. Right? My mastery is in psychic talents and abilities, energy healing, consciousness, mindset shifting perspectives, aligning with God's source perspective, working with the divine, and bringing that non-physical. Yes, of course I can communicate with, dead people who've crossed over, who guides, angels, masters, your higher self, my higher self, incredible teams in the non-physical who are here to also support and assist. These are my areas of mastery, and I'm here to bring this forward. You know what your areas of mastery are. And in some cases, whatever your mastery is, it's likely meant to be also further supported and further uplifted by the non-physical realms by utilizing that, which again is a huge reason behind creating the expansion experience. This kind of help, this is the deep, deep inner connection with Source. Source, the divine, the infinite, all that is, the one true God. Different people have different ways of identifying Spirit, Mother, Father, God. But, that's based on our own unique path of how we have discipled ourselves, how we have learned. Some of us have not begun to utilize, many of us have not yet begun to utilize the power of this. And this kind of power, again, is not to harm another, but rather to empower one another and to support and assist one another. So, this kind of deep, intimate connection with the divine is what really helps propel us forward, and to help us to know that what we have, what is being given to us, is nothing short of extraordinary, is truly magnificent and extraordinary, and that we are designed for this. And so in spite of those times when we are in our shadow aspects, buried under the work, or managing 5 million things, or, feeling like we'll never be able to find our own life raft so that we can finally take a breath and just relax, or whatever it is, right, that we're going through during the challenging times of being mission focused and mission driven and really serving in some capacity. And by the way, your service can be in any area. It doesn't even have to be a spiritual area. Your service and contribution may be to bring a whole new kind of health food into the world, or it may be to bring a whole new kind of organic, hypoallergenic, not tested on animals makeup into the world, or maybe the possibilities are endless. It does not mean that you're a spiritual entrepreneur, although you may be. It just means that you have something that you believe in and you stand behind, and you know that you're here to serve in a better way and to bring something great forward for the betterment of humanity. So when we talk about utilizing the higher realms and the divine to make this kind of impact that we're here, we're really talking about accessing and harnessing a kind of power that is the gift of the divine for us to do and bring forward our mission, to bring forward our service, our contribution. And because we have been somehow divinely appointed from potentially multiple lifetimes, if you're willing to go there, because somehow you have invested yourself somewhere in your journey in helping others and serving the divine, or creating transformation in the world. And so when you think about really your mission and purpose, and you recognize, whether you've started or not, that this calling is something greater than you, then at the same time, it almost behooves you, it literally behooves you, to really learn how to not only use that radical faith and radical trust to transform yourself so that you can harness and utilize these gifts of the divine so that you can be successful in the extraordinary mission that is part of your life and that you're meant to share. So I think this transformation will become more and more evident to all of us as we move forward in the coming months and years, because Pluto in the house of Aquarius, which is where it is moving back into after the last 6 months in Capricorn, Pluto is going to transform humanity. And this trigger of this eclipse window of this month, which is basically starting today as Pluto begins to go direct. I mean, it's already started typically because the eclipse is in a few days, the first eclipse of the month, and they can start, affecting you, way before the actual eclipse, but it's starting to build. So if you're feeling that calling, this is why you're being affected, because the birth of the age of Aquarius is here. And as Pluto comes into this, this is where we're moving forward. And the question for humanity is, will you choose to align with the new paradigm? Or will you choose instead to play in the old game, which of course we referenced earlier, right? Okay, so with all that said, if you haven't already registered, please join us for the expansion experience. It's a gifted 9-day master workshop. And this is the kind of stuff we're going to be addressing, but really about learning how to utilize the gifts of the divine, the higher realms, the metaphysical, spiritual tools, energy. Do you understand that by shifting energy and consciousness, your mission will be 10x'd? We're going to talk about that too. How to utilize energy, how to utilize the tools of the higher realms to 10x your life, your mission, your work, your service, your contribution, yourself. Because you really are, we're talking about aligning with your soul's agenda and the highest fulfillment of you. What your highest fulfillment is, which I promise you is much better than any form of mediocrity that you've ever lived in this reality. So this is a new paradigm that is birthing itself this month and today as Pluto goes direct, and it certainly is very aligned amazingly with this expansion experience that I'm so excited to be presenting. It begins on October 23rd. It is a 9-day masterclass. You do need to be registered to participate. I will not be sharing it outside of the group. It's only going to those people who are registered and who are then also in the Facebook group. We have a private Facebook community for those people registered. I will not be putting this on my YouTube channel. This is going to be very intimate. And already the people I'm interacting with in the Facebook group are amazing, how incredible beings. If you're listening, I love you guys already making such wonderful connections. There's already some really just so uplifting, exchanges going on in there, and so free. It's so free. And by the way, Pluto serves two purposes in this regard. It serves, every visionary, solopreneur, entrepreneur. If you went into business for yourself in some way, even people who are in those sort of intangible kinds of jobs that are just not tied to an office or a desk or a 9-to-5 type of job, a huge part of your motivating factor, chances are, was freedom. I know for me that's one of my highest values, freedom. And we are here to expand that freedom. Well, this is one of the other roles of Pluto. The light side of Pluto is to provide through empowerment more freedom. The shadow side of Pluto could potentially be to take away freedom. And so we've witnessed this. We certainly witnessed it when Pluto was in Capricorn. If you understand, you don't have to understand astrology, but you get it. That was going on over the past few years. Pluto will walk that line, giving freedom or taking away freedom. And you have to decide for yourself, like, where you're going to be. What are you going to be experiencing there? And of course, it matters what you're involved with, who you're involved with. So that's another reason why I'm just so excited about this expansion experience, because needless to say, we are all very inspired by being so free and safe within this community to be authentic, to share authentically, to express authentically, and to reveal ourselves in a way to and with one another where we are all positively uplifting one another, inspiring one another, and harnessing these incredible tools. And this is what I'm going to be sharing about more during the expansion experience. So I do hope you will join us. This is the first and potentially only time I am offering something like this. I'm trying something new. We will see. I think it's going to be out of this world magnificent and extraordinary, and certainly support us in our evolutionary journey. It is definitely part of my divine mission and purpose to bring this forward. But it has been, a big transformation for me too, personally. And so where it's going to take us all is what will still be revealed. And I hope you will join us. I am very excited about it. I know it's going to be magnificent for you in helping you move forward and really leave the lasting legacy that you, as someone with a mission and purpose, has. Or even you, as someone who knows there's a higher calling for you, has. And not only leave the lasting legacy, but make the impact and the contribution that you came here to make. And to really achieve your highest fulfillment. Because let me just tell you, if you don't already know this, I think you do if you're in this community, but your highest fulfillment will not come from some more ego boosting. I had a client for years and it just wants ego boosting. That is not what's going to really bring the lasting fulfillment. It's not going to come from more people saying that you're wonderful through, all the different, feeds you have, all your social media. It's not more bling or rings or diamonds. It's not even more crystals. It's not having a little circle of people to flutter around you like, you're a queen bee and everybody else is just fluttering around. It's none of it. None of that. Trust me, because I've been there. And if you don't already know that, you will. It's not your next car or the dream vacation. It's not those things. It's not even the spiritual journey you took to India, because those things, that's not the highest calling for you. Those are just things on the way to give you experiences. The true calling comes from deep within. It's not something from the external world. And finding that God's source within, the highest fulfillment for you, the alignment, that is where you're going to find it. But this is not something you're going to get through all the social media accolades. It's not going to come from a TED Talk. It's not going to come from being on stage. It's none of that stuff. It's not going to come from, a nice car or a nice house. It has to come from within, deep, deep within, and through your connection with the divine. And as you do that, these gifts, they start to come forward to propel you forward with your mission. So this is what we will be exploring. I'm going to cut this off here because I've been going on for quite a while, but I hope this has been helpful to you. This is the theme not only of this month, but the coming months ahead. And years, we will see this as Pluto moves direct and as the eclipse unfolds, and certainly as humanity makes its choices. I do have to just add one more piece here. I'm sorry. I know I said I'd complete, but there's a lot of people in the woo-woo world who would like to believe that everything's going to be just fine. And I agree to that. I agree with that. But is everything going to be just fine with the least amount of suffering and hardship for humanity? That is what we're here to change. You see, humanity will continue to go through great suffering. And yes, unfortunately, the most recent 2 wars that are in the public arena right now, in the public stage, are evidence. But, famine and, sexual abuse and, gender inequality and racial inequality and child sex trafficking and child slavery and famine. I said famine and drought. These and the pain and suffering to animals. These things are happening because humanity has not chosen the highest path the highest alignment or their highest fulfillment, to connect with the non-physical realm that is the infinite all that is, and to utilize and harness these things. Now, we are here to transform that in whatever way our unique soul is going to bring that forward. So it's up to us to make that change, because the love and lighters who think it's going to be all love and light, if 2020 didn't give you a rude awakening on that, I'm here to say we have to change the paradigm out of one of pain and suffering and into one of the glorification of the divine, the magnificence of the divine, and the extraordinary, the incredible glory, the beyond words, so that we can bring that into this world in whatever unique way we are uniquely meant to. Okay, so I will leave it at that. And again, I hope you will join us for the expansion experience. I am truly so excited. It does feel like the divine is working through me for this. And I, of course, am so excited to be sharing it with you, as it's so deeply personal to me and definitely part of my transformation to bring this forward to support and assist all of you visionaries and global change agents and people who truly care about humanity, about your community, about your audience, about your loved ones, about the world, and even about yourself. Because look, if you're choosing to be the best version of yourself, but you may not have a huge audience or following, and you may not think you have a huge mission, but being the best version of yourself, that's a calling too. That is a very important calling, because there's lots of people who they don't even care about themselves. So please don't mistake when I say making global change. This has been come through by my channeling many times. And I will say it again, all of the masters, the teachers, the loved ones, the angelics, as a collective, when they bring it through, they say the positive upliftment of one person or one animal positively uplifts the whole of humanity. Let that sink in. So even if you don't think you have a global mission, but you know that you want to be the best version of yourself, and you want to bring the greatness and the brilliance of the magnificence of the divine in through you, then you are meant for this. A popular night tonight. So I hope you will join us. It is the expansion experience. You do need to register. It will not be public. It will only be offered for those who register and join us. I will make sure I include the link below. And please do make sure you join us in the private Facebook group so you have the full experience. I'm already in there interacting with everybody personally who is posting, because I want this to be deeply intimate and really connected and really powerful for all of you. And it's going to be truly magnificent and really contributing to your magnificent evolution. So with that, I'm going to leave you for now. I love you so much. And thank you. Thank you so much, each and every one of you who really, truly cares and truly knows that you're here for something more and wants to be the best version of you and contribute that to the greater good. Okay, until next time, I see you soon. Lots of love. Farewell for now. Bye-bye.